When Bob came into the area, he was always saying, Fitchburg State University is #1 after Fitchburg State College then. And people that was a soundbite. But now, after 11 years, Fitchburg State University, because of Bob's leadership, is in fact #1, and people believe him. It's just not a soundbite, it's the truth. It's the brand.
Charismatic,
loving,
focused,
thoughtful,
creative,
genuine,
tireless,
innovative,
approachable,
generous,
very dynamic,
collegial,
buoyant,
devoted,
motivated,
enthusiastic,
intrepid,
passion,
patriotic,
dedication, intelligent,
whirling dervish,
compassion,
his ability,
real,
relentless,
visionary,
family,
selfless,
thorough,
gracious,
a change maker,
action.
authentic.
That's Bob.
That's my papa.
Do you know that his whole family was called Chalk? All the boys? All of the brothers were called Chalk. And when you'd call the house, I'd say, Mrs. Antonucci, can I speak to Chalk? And she'd say, which one?
My favorite story about Bob was when either our 4th or 5th grade that Robert came running over to my house and said, you have to see what my parents bought me. And I said, wow, great, I'll be right there. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, a baseball bat, a baseball glove, maybe both, maybe even a football since it's September. I go running into his house, and I'd never seen him so excited before in my life. But there it is, a brand new desk, an educator, born in the 4th grade.
I remember when we were in college and Jeannie and Chalk had gotten married in our junior year. And one of the times I was over at their apartment and we were doing salad for our church fair. And in the apartment there wasn't a lot of counter space, so Chalk decided that he would set up a small table, just a folding table. And we put the big salad bowl on the table and we proceeded to fill it. And all of a sudden, to our surprise, the table collapsed and the salad rained everywhere. And Jeannie and I were just shocked, and we didn't know what we were going to do. And all of a sudden, Chalk just scooped it up, threw it back in the bowl, and off the salad went to the fair. So I'd suggest that nobody ever ask him to be on their food committee.
When I think of Bob, I think of passion, I think of loyal friendship, and I think of handyman. And one of these words doesn't apply. And I'm talking about one evening where Bob and Jeannie, Bernie and Ann Louise Stevens, and Rosemary and I were enjoying a glass of wine together. And in conversation, we talked about a master bedroom demolition I had to do the next morning. And he said, give me a hammer. So he took my hammer and he proceeded to do the demolition to my master bedroom bathroom in a fraction of the time it would have taken me. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is it took me the entire next day to repair the rest of the walls.
You know he has a meatball every morning for breakfast?
All you have to do is have a conversation with him about food, and you realize that the menu is pretty small. And it doesn't matter whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it kind of rotates around the same few things.
His legacy is going to be the fact that he's been here for over a decade and was unsuccessful in bringing any new Italian restaurants in here to Fitchburg.
One of the things that's really interesting about Bob is his ability to identify and mentor talent.
Freshman year, I joined student government and I was this quiet, timid, shy little freshman that didn't really know anything about politics. I was not involved in anything in high school. And I remember he saw me speaking to a prospective student, and he just pulled me aside and told me that he saw such potential in myself, and all I had to do was see it, and one day it would take me places.
What stands out the most is when he came and introduced himself to me. Within 5 minutes, I felt so comfortable and felt like I'd known him for my whole life.
Gave a lot of encouragement to younger Italian-American kids in the neighborhood that someday they could be something more than just a factory worker.
One of the major qualities, I think, of Bob is his ability, thank God, to surround himself with great people.
You know, Bob really stands for the adage, one man can make a difference. Now, he would disagree. He would say, I had a team. It was a team effort. Everybody contributed. And it's true. But he motivated them. And he was the one who made the difference.
He put together some pretty good teams, and I think one of the best teams he put together was his wife, Jeannie.
What touches our hearts mostly is that Bernie and I have a special needs daughter, and Jeannie and Chuck are wonderful to her. They treat her with such kindness and respect, and they are most generous with her.
They're amazing. They are an incredible role model for my brother and his wife and my husband and myself. They've been together their whole life. We always joke that they were born 3 days apart from each other, and Mom always says he started chasing her there at Leominster Hospital.
I do want to say, you know, there's a love of, there's 5 grandkids. They're all talented. They're all doing very well in school, and Bob and Jean are so proud of these young guys. They do everything they can to help them.
Bob's always going to be remembered as Mr. Fitchburg State University.
We know where Bob comes with the number one, being Fitchburg State is number one, and it means that he's always ahead of the curve. He really is the man who had a vision.
If you've ever been to Fitchburg State, there are benches and meeting areas all over the place. And 15 years ago, that was not the case. The first thing he did, knowing that student engagement was the critical factor at the moment, was to put those meeting places up. And that was the first step.
As president of Fitchburg State University, Bob Antonucci exemplifies what a change maker is. And it's not just the word itself, but it goes down to the roots of why he's a change maker, and it's because he's a man of value.
His passion is infectious for students and for faculty, staff, the entire community, and believing that we are number one. And that passion and that belief that we are succeeding and evaluating ourselves based upon that sets everything for the community and gives us that belief in ourselves.
He looked at the college. Obviously, he knew that there were necessary changes. I will never drive up North Street and immediately think of Bob Antonucci.
Probably haven't been so many building projects, renovation as well as a new science building on the campus of Fitchburg State University under the leadership of perhaps any president.
I guess it would be no surprise to me that the first thing Bob did was to put benches around the campus. His whole idea is to get people sitting with one another, visiting with one another, talking to one another. It kind of brings them back to where they grew up, to where their roots come from, to sitting on the front stoop as we all did as young kids and young adults. Bob and I are looking forward to being back in our neighborhood, sitting on our front stoop, passing time together with our family and our friends.